Hello my friend, welcome to the channel. In today's code block, we will continue the journey we started last time, which is creating the createArgs functions in the CliBuilder. The createArgs functions that we try to create is a test functions that I want to expose for the user when they're consuming the CliBuilder and to be used when they're creating their command. The reason for creating this function is that when they are creating command, especially for the plugin CLI, they don't need to create the actual CLI in order to run the command. You might think why that is not desirable. The reason is that the plugin CLI will typically be used by a consuming package to create its own actual CLI. For example, say my own Juliano CLI, and then they have other packages plugged into it. So meaning when the plugin package is created, when they are working on it, they don't really have access to the CLI builder itself. More likely than not, they will have access to the actual CLI package that being created in this example, which is the Juliano CLI. So it is not that convenient for them to go back to the CLI builder to get the actual CLI class and then use that to do the testing, right? And it is also not it also doesn't make sense for the actual CLI package to re-export the CLI class for the user, for the plugin author to consume it in just for testing. And also it is not a good idea to require the plugin package author to use the actual CLI command to do the testing, because the actual CLI command may do something else, right? Say they might need to read a config file on the file systems, or maybe do some other things. So using that during testing is not a good idea. So that's why these functions, I want to create this function so that the actual CLI package, they can re-export the test functions, this test function, which is okay for the plugin CLI to use. So the plugin CLI author will include the actual CLI package and then use the test util that actual CLI package re-export, or adding their own test util for their testing purpose. So enough talk, and let's get started on the code. And last time we are working on the create CLI arguments, as you can see here. And one problem is I don't like the fact that we have to pass in the command, because this sounds artificial, while on the other hand it is actually how it behaves, that the actual pass argument function, that's how it behaves when it is being used. Last time I showed that I put a log message over here to show that let's see if I can find it, to see that the arguments, how it will actually looks like. And you can see here that the command name is actually included in the argument when they are created and passed into the command. So I didn't like that, and so in this code block we will try to address that. And also among the other things like this possible the misspelling of that word. So after the last code block, I was thinking about it, and I figure a way, right? Because we can utilize the idea that the create arguments is actually passing in the command. That's how it will be used. Last time I showed that how it's going to be used. Say they have the echo command, and pretend it is available, and then they will call this create arguments, and then echo command, and then the actual argument v like this, and that's how it will be actually used. And as you can see, the possible shaped the text interface like this, which is compatible to both the CLI and the command itself. So with that, one information is actually available but not in that possible interface, is that the CLI and the command both have a name. They both have a name, and when you use it, you will pass that information in. They say, you can see in the command option, this is not optional. You always need to pass it in. And the same for the command. So in the command, let me scroll actually at the bottom. The command extend this, and it has a name which is also not optional. So we can actually reuse this information in the possible. So what I'm going to do is to put this name in there. And then all over here, all this now needs to have that name, right? Which is fine, because it's supposed to be a command. And also for in this code block, I will actually improve this a little bit, the test, so that it looks less fake. It looks more realistic. So one of the command I know I have is a no op command for this test case, which doesn't take any argument. We can go there to take a look. It's just a name and function. There's no argument, no options. So we can use the no op command for this test, and it should work. And to continue, let's move on to figure it out. So for this function, let me undo this. For this function, we want to test a one argument, right? Which I already have one, and well, actually I have a one require, one optional. So for us, the require one works fine. So what we want to do is, instead of creating a fake one, I will just use this argument command, and also include that in, import it. Okay, and then over here we will be removing this, and then this we want to have a Boolean field, and let's see if I have one. The options is a Boolean. It actually take two Booleans, one with a default value, one does not. But I think we can reuse that one. So that would be optional option. Double check. So O options command. So include that one, and then is take A. So we can say A. We will fix that information. We'll fix the name of the test later on. and then this want to take a string, and I think I do not have that. This is more advanced, and so what I'm going to do is just create one string option command, and make it singular in this case, although it's a little bit not consistent, but I think it's okay. If you find that is not a good idea, let me know. I can change it. So I will change this. This is a string, and then I think it doesn't have that. Right, so I will just keep it simple, just A. Okay, and then in this case it doesn't have A, it doesn't have B, so that's fine. To make it a little bit more descriptive, string option A. Okay, and still call it options, that's fine. Rename this string option command. Okay, and then we can use that here. Let's copy this. Include it. So it's called A. And then this will be A. Okay. And this one, we don't worry about it right now. It's actually this function, this failing test. And the information should be the same. So A, and expect to be free, but it was not, but we don't worry about it right now. And then this also the same thing. This would expect to be A and A5. Okay, so now these three dummy options can be removed. So with that, let's see how we are doing in the test. Oh, it have a B, because although it is optional, it's still created. Actually, that's the minimus will still create it, but since it is false, it doesn't really hurt. So what should I do? Should I include it? Yeah, it's okay, because this is the option command, and I am fine in including it. False. Okay, and then there's also one test failed. This test is the argument 1 test. Oh yes, it failed because it's missing. Let me just fix it to make sure it passed first, and now it should pass. There you go. But this is not what I want, so I want to take it out, and now it fell, and I am going to fix this now by the possible dot name, right? We can use that. So argument v shift, no, unshift. Unshift, put the name in front. Now it should pass. There you go. So I think functionality wise we are good. So now let's do some cleanup. So first of all, this now will change. Let's clean up the names. This empty arguments give empty arguments. Let's change this. Just that would be fine. And then this is one argument. Well, it's fine to keep our argument v to signify that that is the raw argument. Okay, and then actually let's inline this. Right, so create argument for the no op command and passing in empty arguments, we will get that. So that's nice, and then we can do the same thing over here, do all that, right? We can create a variable and put that in, but no, don't do that. There's no need. So change this, remove, clean up, and then using use dash dash option, using that dash option. Okay, and then name option with equal, name option with space. That sounds good. To just do a sanity check, A, B, C, that's fine. And then the A over here, although it failed, but that's what we want, so let's clean it up. And the same over here. And then I like to put a space in between these lines to follow the AAA rule. So the arrange, act, and assert. So I like to separate those three into three sections in the class. And in this case, that's not much to arrange. So it just have the act, and that's it. And then the assert over here. So this now the names the text names are descriptive. I like that. So what's next? So this take the parse argument now. Since we are almost there, well, let's put it over here because we have been working on this in the test file all along, but that's okay. But before, I'm going to move it to its own file. But before I do that, let's fix this. Possible, right? And then save all. It's just a renaming. It should work fine. And then, yeah, just in case I want to run every test, so that the the last change, adding the name, it doesn't break anything. Oh, actually, speaking of breaking that, I should start the watch again, because no, over here, well, I'm actually fine. The compilation is ongoing, because in other projects I use Jest, which does not use TSE. I use TS Note to compile the TypeScript on the fly. So, and if there's any compile error, it doesn't show up. But over here it's fine, because I'm actually, well, since I'm speaking of that, I'm actually running the TypeScript compiler continuously. So back to here, so we are fine, things are good. And then one more thing I want to do is about the create argument V versus this create arguments, because now they look very similar. And of course, I'm not worried about the argument V versus argument S, but what I worry about is the actual usage, because the argument V is created for you to work on the CLI, so that you can create a CLI and then create the argument V, and then just call the CLI.parse function with the result from this function. So on the other hand, this function is created for testing the command, and over here I am using, just putting in the argument array directly. But if you are not familiar with the code, you might be tempting to use, create argument V and then something, and then pass that information, the the created result in there, which will be wrong. So that's the confusion I want to avoid. So to do that, let's rename this function from create arguments to create command arguments. And then this one will rename it, say, create CLI arguments. So that avoid the confusion, and things would be much more clear. However, this is a breaking change, right? Because if I have some consumer using this test util, and now I have renamed the create argument v to create CLI argument, it will be a breaking change. Although it is slightly debatable to say, this is test function, should it be considered as a breaking change? Because in the actual code, if you just run the actual code, it shouldn't fail. However, I still think that it should be a breaking change, because if I do not make it as a breaking change and publish a patch version, in this case it's a patch because it's still in 0.x scheme, then when I publish it, all the CI, if you're using Greenkeeper, it will detect the change and try to apply it, and then all your tests will fail because the function is no longer available. Because of that, a lot of the the package using the CLI builder, the CI will break, it will fail. So that's why I still consider this as a breaking change. So that's good. So let's rename the file. I always like to keep the name consistent. And then the index, this will be CLI. And then I will also creating a file, start from create command arguments. Okay, right now it's does not exist. That's why it get that error, which is okay. We're going to fix it right now. Command arguments dot yes. And I'm going to move this over. Come on. Export. What's the error? Return type using the minimus pass argument. Yeah. I hate that when that happens. So this is a serious problem that the TypeScript currently has. There's a issue related to that. So import is equal require. Okay, and then now this is declared and never used. And fortunately, in the new TypeScript version, it was able to ignore this. No unused local. And right now, I'm still using 2.5.3. And then you can also see that this, well, no. This failed because of something else. Let me fix this first. So, and then also one more thing is when I'm importing this, I'm nowadays more inclined to do this. Okay, fixing all this semicolon, I don't need it. And then also move this to in front. So this is I would like to break it up like this, the import statements. So the reason I'm doing this is so that I would, during the test, I always include it from the top level. In this case, this top level is inside this test util, which I'm going to expose. So over here, so I won't accidentally miss re-exporting the function. So let me save this, and then I have stopped the watch because I need to use the latest TypeScript. Next. So need to install that, and then as I'm doing that, actually let me also do that for the for my global. And in the next function, while this code block is being recorded, the next version have that feature to ignore any error. So let's wait, let's double check. Now this is good, and then to make sure that this is fine, and I can show you that is close it, and then CliBuilder, start it again, and now come on, yeah, is the error is no longer there. Right, using the latest down here, you can see, and then watch. Right, just to double check. Oh, that's two error. Cannot find all module create argument v because I have renamed it. Too far away. Keyword create argument v. Spy display. SPY display. I think it's the spec file. There you go. So it's the CLI, and then the other thing is this create itself. It should be CLI. Oh, and as I said, now I want to do this. We still have one error. Is that right? What is the error? Type check. It's two. That's it. See if it's passed. Okay, compilation complete. TS lint. Yeah, I think it should be okay. Alright, while I'm waiting for it, it should be fine. I again forgot to create a branch. So test util create argument s. Oh, it's create command arguments. Well, that's okay. We are good to go. So this would be a breaking change, and add create command arguments, and rename create argument v to create CLI argument v. Okay, the possible it shouldn't matter because it is, if I believe correctly, it is completely internal, and well, partially internal. Let's see the command argument. Let me think. Yes, because the parse argument which use it is a internal function. So that would be it. So then I'm going to publish it, well, push it up, and publish it. Well, what I'm talking about, run the CI, make sure it works again, and then publish. So that's it for this code block. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any comment, or any suggestion, let me know. And we will see you next time.